Picture this, a stormy night on the Sea of Galilee. Waves crashing, wind howling, and a group of terrified disciples struggling to keep their boat afloat. Sounds scary, right? Now imagine their fear turning to utter astonishment as they see a figure walking towards them on the water's surface. Not just any figure, but Jesus. This, my friends, is no ordinary bedtime story. It's a miracle, a testament to the power and divinity of Jesus. This incredible event, recorded in the Bible, isn't just some ancient legend. It's a story that has resonated with people for centuries, offering hope, inspiration, and a glimpse into the extraordinary. It makes you think, doesn't it? What would it have been like to witness such an awe-inspiring spectacle? The story of Jesus walking on water is more than just a cool party trick. It's a profound statement about faith, trust, and the boundless nature of God's power. Imagine the disciples, huddled together, battling the storm. They were probably exhausted, terrified, and wondering if they'd ever see land again. Then, in their darkest hour, Jesus appears, not on a majestic ship, but calmly walking on the raging sea. This act was a powerful message for the disciples and for us. It reminds us that even in the midst of life's storms, we are never truly alone. This miracle wasn't just about Jesus showing off his supernatural abilities. It was a lesson in faith, a call to trust in something bigger than ourselves. And it's a lesson that's just as relevant today as it was back then. We all face storms in our lives: illness, loss, doubt, fear. These challenges can feel as overwhelming as a raging sea. But the story of Jesus walking on water reminds us that even when we feel like we're sinking, faith can keep us afloat. It encourages us to step out of our comfort zones, to trust in the unseen, and to believe that even the impossible is possible. Before we dive into the stormy seas with the disciples, let's take a step back and talk about Jesus. This wasn't his first rodeo, you know? The guy was practically a walking, talking miracle machine, from healing the sick to calming storms. Foreshadowing. Jesus was all about showing the world that God's love was a force to be reckoned with. He wasn't just some magician pulling rabbits out of hats, though. These miracles weren't parlor tricks. They were acts of compassion, power, and most importantly, love. Each miracle was a glimpse into the very nature of God, a reminder that with faith, all things are possible. Section 2. The setting. A storm is brewing. Our story takes place on the Sea of Galilee, a freshwater lake nestled in the heart of what is now Israel. Don't let the word lake fool you, though. This body of water could be as unpredictable as a teenager's mood swings. One minute it's smooth sailing, the next, bam, you're caught in a tempest. It was on just such a night, with the wind whipping the water into a frenzy, that the disciples found themselves in a bit of a pickle. They were out on the lake, probably exhausted from a long day of preaching and teaching, when a storm rolled in. And we're not talking about a little drizzle here. This was a full-blown, boat-tossing, oh my God, we're all going to die kind of storm. The Sea of Galilee. More than just water. The Sea of Galilee wasn't just a backdrop. It held deep significance for Jesus and his followers. It was a place of livelihood. The disciples knew the lake well, but it was also symbolic. It represented life's unpredictability. The abundance and scarcity of fish mirrored life's ups and downs. Storms on the lake symbolized inner and outer turmoil. It was a test of faith, a challenge to hold on. Section 1. Trouble on the water. Imagine yourself in the disciples' sandals for a second. It's the middle of the night. The sky is a canvas of darkness, ripped apart by flashes of lightning. The wind howls like a hungry wolf, tossing their little boat around like a toy in a bathtub. Rain lashes down, stinging their faces, and the waves crash over the sides of the boat, soaking them to the bone. These guys, tough fishermen used to the sea's moods, were scared out of their wits. They'd seen storms before, sure, but this one was different. This one felt like the sea itself was trying to swallow them whole. Fear, raw and primal, gripped their hearts. They were fighting for their lives, bailing water, praying for the storm to pass, for a miracle. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, they saw something through the driving rain. A shape, out there on the water, moving towards them. Now, in the middle of a raging storm, the last thing you expect to see is someone out for a leisurely stroll on the water. Panic set in. Was it a ghost? A figment of their exhausted, terrified minds? As the figure drew closer, they realized, with a mixture of awe and terror, that it was Jesus. There he was, walking towards them, calm and steady as you please, on top of the storm-tossed water. Imagine seeing that. Your friend, your teacher, the guy who always had a knack for the extraordinary, just casually strolling on water like it was the most natural thing in the world. Now you'd think the disciples would be overjoyed, right? Their savior, their friend coming to rescue them, but fear has a way of twisting our thoughts. Instead of relief, doubt clouded their minds. Some thought they were seeing things, a hallucination brought on by fear and exhaustion. Peter, always the bold one, the one who never shied away from a challenge, called out, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you on the water." Now Peter wasn't asking for proof because he doubted Jesus' power. He was asking for reassurance, for confirmation that what he was seeing was real, that even in the midst of this terrifying storm, he could find solid ground in the form of his faith. "Come," Jesus said, his voice calm and steady amidst the roaring wind. Just one word, but it was enough for Peter. He climbed over the side of the boat and walked on water. Can you imagine that feeling? The wind whipping at your back, the spray of the waves on your face. This was about defying the limits of what Peter thought was possible. It was a testament to the power of belief. But here's the thing about faith. It's not always a smooth ride. It's not a one-time deal where you check the box and you're good to go. It's a journey full of twists and turns, moments of doubt and moments of unshakable belief. And Peter's little walk on the water, well, it was a crash course in the fluctuating nature of faith. As he walked towards Jesus, the wind seemed to pick up, the waves grew higher, and Peter took his eyes off Jesus for a moment. He focused on the storm raging around him, the waves crashing at his feet, the howling wind threatening to knock him off his feet. And that's when it happened. Doubt crept in, like a thief in the night, stealing his focus, his confidence, his faith. The moment doubt took hold, Peter started to sink. He went from confidently strolling on water to frantically splashing about, desperately trying to stay afloat.
"Lord, save me,"
he cried out, his voice lost in the wind. And just like that, Jesus reached out, grabbed his hand and pulled him up. No lectures, no "I told you so," just immediate, unconditional help. Talk about a teaching moment, right? Here they were in the middle of a raging storm on top of the water, and Jesus used this opportunity to show Peter and all of us a thing or two about faith. He showed them that it's okay to doubt, to be afraid, to cry out for help when we feel like we're sinking. What matters is that we keep our eyes on Him, on the source of our strength, our hope, our faith. This wasn't the end of the lesson, folks. Jesus, always the teacher, used this experience to reinforce the importance of unwavering faith. As they climbed back into the boat, the storm miraculously calmed. The wind died down, the waves subsided, and a peaceful stillness settled over the water. It was as if the storm itself had been holding its breath, waiting to see what Jesus would do. The disciples, soaked to the bone, exhausted but exhilarated, were filled with a newfound respect for Jesus. They had witnessed His power firsthand, not just over nature, but over their own doubts and fears. They realized that with Jesus by their side, they could weather any storm, overcome any obstacle. This wasn't just a cool party trick. It was a life lesson, a reminder that faith, even when tested, can move mountains, or in this case, help you walk on water. Okay, so we've got Jesus walking on water, calming storms, pulling a soaked Peter out of the drink. Pretty impressive, right? But this story isn't just about the supernatural. It's not about defying the laws of physics. It's about something much deeper, much more profound. It's about the nature of faith, the relationship between humanity and the divine, and the power of belief to see us through even the most turbulent times. Think about it. The Sea of Galilee, in all its unpredictable glory, becomes a symbol for the challenges we face in life. The storms that whip up out of nowhere, the winds that threaten to knock us off course. the waves that crash over us, threatening to pull us under. These aren't just physical phenomena, they represent the storms that rage within us, the doubts, the fears, the anxieties that can leave us feeling lost and alone. And then there's Jesus, walking on water, a visual representation of his mastery over the chaos. He's not fazed by the storm, not intimidated by the raging sea. He's in complete control, a beacon of hope in the midst of the darkness. And when he calls out to Peter, inviting him to step out of the boat and walk towards him, he's not just offering a chance to try a cool new trick. He's offering a challenge, an invitation to step out of his comfort zone, to confront his fears, and to trust in something bigger than himself. He's saying, "Come on, Peter. I know you're scared. I know it seems impossible. But trust me, I've got you." And for those brief, glorious moments, Peter does trust him. He keeps his eyes on Jesus, ignores the wind and the waves, and walks on water. But then, doubt creeps in. Peter takes his eyes off Jesus, focuses on the storm, and starts to sink. Faith isn't a one-and-done deal. It's not a switch you flip and forget. It's a constant dance between trust and doubt. Sometimes we lose focus and start to go under. The good news is we're not alone. Jesus is there to pull us up when we falter. He offers grace and compassion in the face of fear. Even when our faith wavers, we can always reach out to Jesus. The miracle of Jesus walking on water isn't just a cool story from the Bible. It's a timeless message of hope and encouragement, a reminder that even in the midst of life's storms, we are not alone. We have a Savior who is always with us, who calms the raging seas, who reaches out and pulls us up when we falter, and who reminds us that with faith, all things are possible. The storm eventually subsides, the waves calm, and a peaceful stillness settles over the water. It's a beautiful image of the peace that comes when we place our trust in Jesus, even when we don't fully understand. It's a reminder that after every storm, no matter how fierce, there is always a calm, and that with Jesus by our side, we can weather any storm life throws our way. Okay, so we've unpacked this whole walking on water thing, right? But you're probably thinking, Jimmy, that's great for biblical times. But what's it got to do with me here and now? I hear you. This story isn't just some dusty old tale, folks. It's packed with timeless wisdom that's just as relevant today as it was back then. Think about it. We all face storms in our lives, don't we? Job losses, heartbreak, illness, that feeling when you can't find your phone and you're already late. Life can throw some serious curveballs. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like we're drowning, right? Like the waves are crashing over us and there's no way out. Here's where the story of Jesus walking on water comes in. It's a powerful reminder that even when we feel like we're sinking, faith can be our life jacket. It's about trusting that there's a power greater than ourselves, a force for good that's got our backs, even when we can't see it. Now, I'm not saying we're all going to magically sprout the ability to walk on water, but what I am saying is that the same faith that allowed Peter to take those first steps on the water is available to us today. It's that unwavering belief, that deep down trust that says, even though things are tough right now, I know I'm not alone. I'm going to keep going, keep believing, because I know there's something better waiting for me on the other side of this storm. The story of Jesus walking on water is more than just a cool miracle story, folks. It's a testament to the enduring power of faith, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, there's always a light shining out there. It's a story that's been shared and celebrated for centuries, passed down from generation to generation, and it continues to inspire and uplift people from all walks of life. Why? Because it speaks to a universal human experience. We all face challenges, we all experience doubt and fear, but this story reminds us that we don't have to go through it alone. There's a power greater than ourselves, a love that knows no bounds, and it's available to us if we just open our hearts and minds to it. So the next time you're facing a storm in your life, remember the story of Jesus walking on water. Remember that even when things seem impossible, faith can make all the difference. Keep your eyes on the horizon, hold on to that belief in something better, and know that you have the strength to weather any storm that comes your way. And hey, who knows? You might even surprise yourself and find yourself walking on water, metaphorically speaking, of course.